Howdy Space Cats, Jules here, back in the studio with another how-to tutorial. Now, if you have a story inside you, desperate to get out and into readers' hands, then I think you're going to find this video really helpful. As a seasoned children's author and illustrator, with a foot in both camps of self-publishing and traditional publishing, I quite often revisit this topic because I get asked about it all the time. The good news is there are tons of videos on my channel explaining the ins and outs of making children's books. If you want that to be your vocation, just like I wanted it to be mine. For the next week, you can grab the course that I made specifically to take you through all the steps of bookmaking, and it's on special offer. This includes all of the key decisions you need to think about before you pick up a pencil or tap on a keyboard. How to make a book dummy and layouts, classes in how to draw the common things you need for books, what to do about the covers, and getting to grips with all the tech. Normally $199. Until midnight on the 10th of September 2023, the course will just be $99. So follow the link in the description and hop over there to get your free look at the introduction. You might reasonably think that the first thing you need is to have an idea. Well, yes, I kind of agree with that, but very closely followed by some thought as to how it's going to be published. That really means, do you want to self-publish, or are you going to find a publisher to do that for you? It might not be as easy as it sounds. Self-publishing is hard work because you need to do everything for yourself or employ somebody who can do those things. And it is not easy getting a publishing contract. Believe me, after university I tried for quite some months and ended up with a file about this thick with very kind but rejecting letters. If you have the attitude that you are doing this publisher a huge favour by offering them or choosing them to publish your story, then you're not going to get very far. Remember, these people are a business, so they need to make sure that they think they can make some money from what you're doing. They are not a charity. Check out the video that's going to pop up here that's all about self-publishing versus traditional publishing. Once you have decided which route you're going to take, all you have to do is write it. Easy. Well, maybe not easy, but certainly essential. A common mistake and something that is really easy to happen is you start with gusto and you've got so much enthusiasm. You start your story and then somewhere along the line you just run out of energy and your story never gets finished. It happens to many writers. So up the top here there is a video on some tips to stop that from happening to you. If you decide you want to try and find a publisher, then you must find somebody who fits your kind of story. There is no point sending your children's book to a publishing company that only ever publishes romance or non-fiction science books. You are literally wasting your time and your postage. The best thing that you can do is get yourself a copy of the current Children's Writers and Artists Yearbook. Or you can just search online for companies who publish children's books with your spec. This means your age group and the sort of theme that you're working around. But don't make the mistake of sending them a story that is like something that they already publish. Once you have decided who to target, then go and have a look at their website and see if they are accepting any submissions and also how they would like to receive your manuscript. And for goodness sake, don't send them your one and only book dummy or any original artwork, just in case you never see it again. You might think that finding an agent will be easier than finding a publisher, and then you can leave all the hard work to them. Well, let me tell you, this is not the case. Finding an agent, a good agent, is at least as difficult as finding a good publisher. I have had 2 agents in my time, and to be honest, found neither of them to be massively useful. I'm certain there are some really brilliant agents out there, without whom the author could function properly, especially if they are super busy authors or illustrators. But perhaps when you are starting out, maybe it's just not quite so necessary. Wait until you have to turn work down before you need to find yourself an agent. If you've taken the leap into self-publishing, then congratulations, because you're almost certainly going to end up with a book in your hands. How good it is and how polished it looks is entirely down to you. Here is what you need to know. There are several things that you shouldn't skimp on or ignore. These are the things that you can't really effectively do yourself. One of them is editing. You can edit lightly yourself, but it's so helpful to get another person's opinion on the structure, rhythm, and logic of the story. And by another person, I don't mean your nan or your next door neighbour. Employ an editor who is used to editing children's books. They will be able to give you valuable tips about language, word count, and story substance. Once you've done that, then you need to get it proofread. Oh, yes, you do. If you're wondering, why the heck do I need a proofreader? Then this is everything you need to know. An editor will doubtless pick up some fairly obvious spelling mistakes, but a proofreader will see everything, including the punctuation that you've missed. Believe me, if you don't get a proofreader to do that, one of your readers will notice and tell you all about it, quite possibly on social media. If you've written a picture book, you might be in the fortunate position to be able to illustrate it yourself, in which case, crack on. If not, you might need to find an illustrator or another way to produce some images. You also need to think about how many images you're going to need. If you have written a picture book, then you need to make sure you've got a way of putting an image on each double-page spread. You can't just decide to write a picture book and then skimp on how many images you've got, because picture books aimed at 3 to 6-year-olds need to have pictures in them, otherwise they're not picture books. Children of that age learn to read by looking at the pictures and associating it with the text. So make sure you have the budget or the know-how to produce those images. Just one caveat before you start. If you are making an image that goes right to the edge of the page, then you're going to need to have an illustration with bleed. If you don't know what that is, I have a video on it. Yay! However, I've run out of information cards to go up there. So what you're going to have to do is go onto my channel and search for how do I get rid of that ugly white line? Bleed or no bleed? Next up, and you can probably do this yourself, is learn how to format your files so that you can upload it for a printer or an online print-on-demand service, or for an ebook. I started out with a company called Create Space, which later became KDP, and I knew nothing about how to do it. I literally had to start from scratch. So if I can do it, you can. Choose where you want to publish and then do your research. Look at their help pages or forums, or just put a question into a search engine. If you're having physical copies printed, then get in touch with the printer and find out how they would like them submitted. The good thing about doing it this way is that they should be able to give you a proof copy to check everything over before your print run starts. If you're writing for older children, and particularly if you have no or very few images, you can create a PDF to sell on an online store or on your website. Or you can make the manuscript into an ebook. Making an ebook can be trickier if you have images, but if you've just got text, it's pretty easy. Next, you have to market your book. This can take the form of literally telling everyone you know about your book, or you can put it on your social media, or you can talk to the radio about it, or send out press releases so it can go into the written press. Or you can buy some advert space on somewhere like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. It is vital that you market your book somehow, because otherwise, how is anybody going to know that it even exists? It can feel rather uncomfortable if you've never done anything like this before. You don't need to go straight on and make a TV advert. Start with something much more manageable. Put up a blog post on Facebook, or add your book to Pinterest, or get a 14-year-old to make you a TikTok. And finally, and quite importantly, don't stop marketing it. You will almost certainly at some stage reach the point where you are sick of the sight of your book. And that probably means that the project is finished and you need to find a new book to write. Until that point comes, don't stop finding ways to market it. Think creatively. Get your book noticed by people and give them incentives to buy it. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to give them money off, but find cool ways of giving your potential purchaser something special. I always offer to do an original little drawing in the front of a book for any of my readers, and they love it. Can you think of something a bit like that? That's it. How you make your story idea into a book in the next 12 months. If you found this video helpful, then I'd appreciate it if you could take a second to give me a like. And let me know in the comments whether it's given you the momentum to give it a try. You can get Make a Picture Book step by step for $99 until the end of the day on the 10th of September. And there is a 14-day money-back guarantee if it doesn't float your boat. Float your boat. Next week I will be painting boots with a cat stuffed in it. Only joking. It's Puss in Boots. A cat in a pharmacy. That joke only works if you're in the UK. I will see you next week. Nano.